so much for taking the time to talk to me about your production. In one of the previous interviews, you mentioned that you made a real pain out of your love for Poland. How was Poland being talked about in your childhood home for you to develop just sort of an intimate relationship with a place that you haven't been raised in?
Thank you so much for your nice question. And I really did have an unusual introduction to Poland. My introduction to Poland was through my aunt, Doris. She is kind of a character in this movie. The characters are constantly talking about their grandma, Dori. It's based on my aunt, Doris, who was born and raised in Krasnostav. Her little brother is my grandfather. And so what she would tell me about Poland, and I spent years with her. She was like my mentor for 20 years. For years, she would tell me about this amazing relationship she had with Poles. My family's Jewish, and so they were both Polish citizens, but also a little bit other because they were Jews, and so they had a kind of different relationship to the country. But my aunt would always tell me that they had just the best relationship with Polish people, up until the war. And so I always heard great things about Poland. For a lot of American Jews, they hear the opposite. They hear, oh, the Poles didn't like us or something. But that's just not my experience at all. And so I wanted to come here and see for myself what the experience is like here, and to see where they're from, to see the house my family lived in for hundreds of years, and to kind of have my own relationship. And what I found was just this incredible, warm, welcoming country. I've had just the greatest experiences here. I've been able to make a movie with 150 Polish people who are helping me to tell my family's story, and I just feel so honored that I have been welcomed in this great country.
Considering the history of the country, considering all the atrocities that happened to Jewish people during World War II, how did you manage to actually tell the story with so much care and tenderness?
Thank you for saying that. That's very kind. And I would say that the history here, during World War II is terrible. Of course, but I, as an American Jew, don't blame Poland. I mean, to me, there were German death camps on Polish soil. So for me, I feel, I understand the history, but my takeaway from the history is that, Poland was overrun by two superpowers, and so I feel a sympathy for Poland, and so maybe I have an unusual relationship in that, to me, I want to reconnect to Poland, and to me it feels like important to kind of see the history in its complexity rather than to see the history as one of pure tragedy.
I wanted to talk about the aspect of production because obviously coming from the US, coming from Hollywood, you're coming from a place of big budgets and major productions. How was it for you? How was the experience of working with Polish filmmakers in a place that's very different from America?
To me, this was a dream come true to film here. First of all, the greatest filmmakers in the world are coming from Poland, and they're coming from Łódź. And to me, we just had like the greatest crew. I mean, every day, my producers and my American producers, that is, would just be astonished by the work that we were able to do. Every member of our crew, and we had 150 people, every person who worked on the crew was a real artist. They were in film because they wanted to be in the arts. They weren't in film because they wanted to, be on a cool movie set. They were artists, and it was just amazing, from everything, from our props and costumes, from the people painting the sets.
I think it really shows in the production.
Thank you. I do too. We really just had an unbelievable group of people, and if I could have a crew this great for the rest of my life, I will be so lucky.
Because it's both very intimate, but also visually very pleasing as well.
Thank you so much.
How you work with the frames, with the lighting. I wanted to take a look at the cousins, David and Benji. The plot line, the storyline is based on the relationship and the trip that they shared together, and the past that they shared together, the family history. How would you say that this sort of disproportion in the relationship between the two actually supports telling of the story?
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, thank you very much. Basically, the movie is about these two cousins who are trying to reconnect to what they had in their childhood. These two cousins were like, best friends when they were 7 years old, 8 years old. And now that they're 40, their lives have changed so much. And so in the movie, they're trying to kind of reconnect to their history. But also, they're on this tour trying to connect to their family's history. And both things are not going well. On an interpersonal level between them, they're struggling to find that connection that they once had. Sometimes they find it, sometimes they miss. And then in the kind of family history, they're trying to connect to where their family is from, and sometimes it connects. Sometimes, they feel connected, and other times, like when they go to visit the house in Krasnostav that the family is from, they don't feel the connection. Something is missing. They see the building that their family lived in, which is the actual building my family lived in, and something is
Which
off.
is splendid to know that
Yeah.
you can go full circle and actually find yourself in that very place.
It was
while
so
filming.
surprising that we were able to actually film in the house my family lived in, 80 years ago.
Especially considering the war destruction. I mean, not all of the houses managed to survive the war. So.
Exactly. In fact, my Aunt Doris, who lived here during World War I, she said she would look out the windows and see airplanes flying over Krasnostav in World War I. And it's amazing that, the town has, survived in the way that it has.
Survived.
Yeah.
Just a final question. I know that you received an honorary citizenship in Krasnostav.
Yeah.
Congratulations. And
Thank
I know
you.
that you're in the process of getting the Polish citizenship. How does it feel to know that soon enough you will have another place to call home officially?
Well, yeah, I'm so honored that Poland has granted me this great honor of citizenship. The way I think about it is this. My family lived in Poland for hundreds of years. They lived in New York for about 80 years. And it's so strange to me that my family never talked about Poland. My parents, my dad, would never talk about Poland. And yet our lives in New York has been a blip. And our lives in Poland have been quite a long thing, so long experience. And so for me, it feels like very natural that I should try to connect back to where we came from. It feels unnatural to not do that. It feels unnatural to not talk about it or not think about it. So I really feel this I feel like in some ways my family has come full circle through my citizenship in a way that is really heartening for me.
I believe that not only from my perspective, but other people's as well, is very admirable that you're trying to reconnect
Oh, well,
back
thank
to
you.
your roots. So thank you so much
Thank you.
for this conversation.
Great to meet you. Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you.